What's up? What's up, guys? Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you are, whatever country that you're in. Yeah, this is one of those discussions again that we are trying to have, that we are trying to dive into, and welcome to another one of those. And on these, I'll just be sharing my thoughts. Give me just one moment. I'm trying to make sure that the people on my Facebook page also can join us so we can begin. But I'm glad that you're here. Uganda yaffe one. Tell you later. Yes, here we go, here we go, here we go, here we go, here we go. Yeah, what's up, Tex Jimoni, who's like king? I appreciate you, I appreciate that. We're all kings. We're all kings in this. I believe we're all kings. And I believe we can create more kings. Yes, I believe we can create more kings. So we can all be kings. Okay, there we go. I was going to begin complaining. Yes, man. Yes, man. Yes, man. So, it is the day of our Lord, July 31st, Saturday. I'll give you money if you can tell me the name of the month in your local language. If you can tell me, right? If you can tell me the name of the month we are in your local language, you might win yourself a free baboon forest cap or free baboon forest jumper if we are to encourage ourselves to have our own and learn to celebrate our own. If you can tell me the name of this month in your local language, there might be a prize for you. If you're Musamia, tell it to me in Musamia. If you're Muganda, put it in Luganda. You're Munyankore, put it in Munyankore. You're Muchiga, put it in Uchiga. You're Rwandese, put it in Chinyarwanda. I mean, but it's July 31st. And I don't know why my dashboard for Facebook is acting up. Let me ask my team if they can see me. If they can see me. Can you see me on Facebook? Is it live? Because it looks like Chrome is acting up and... No? Okay, give me just a second. Let me try to fix the issues, the production issues here, and then I'll get back to the conversation. Let me see who was here. Someone is like, Okolache, Kenya. How do you know that I'm in Kenya? Yes, I'm in Kenya right now. I'm in Nairobi. Nairobi is beautiful. Nairobi is amazing. Like, I have no idea what Facebook is doing right now. Kenya is amazing. Kenya tebajigadde nga Uganda bwe bajigadde. Okay, I believe it might be live right now. I'm not so sure. Yes, shout outs to you, Shafi, and shout outs to you, Saliman and Nalubwama. Cody Suave, I see you. Somebody's like still on podcast. Yes, I love podcasts. I just want to share my ideas. I don't want to call this a podcast yet. I have a podcast which is called the GNL Zamba podcast, which is already on Apple. If you go to your Apple applications, the Apple podcast, you can search for the GNL Zamba podcast. Query, we already have a season there, but I don't want to call this a podcast yet. I want to call this an avenue where we can share ideas. So if you're just joining us, I have a Facebook. I had tasked the people who are watching me to tell me what the month of July is called in Luganda or is called in their local language. And I'll tell you, and you'll probably win a prize. The reason why I'm tasking you to first do that is because I'm trying to tell you about the root problems of why our creativity is not as deep as it's supposed to be. It's because we are creating from a language which is foreign and we are always copying. That's one of the problems. So, for abaluga flow, oba okolera mu Lucholi, oba okolera mu Luganda, we have an advantage already with the market because we are creating from a place where our ancestors are clapping for us, like go on, create with your language. Not to take away anything from people who express themselves in English. English is colonialism came, colonialism left its effects. And in order to connect with the rest of the world, English is the medium that you need to use to create with, in order to connect basically with other markets. Right now, sikozesa Luganda, nkozesa Luzungu, oba ntabika byombi, in order to make sure that we have, all of my fans are well fed. When we first began rapping in Luganda wasn't cool. It wasn't cool to be proudly African. It was, you had to have an accent and sound like you didn't come from Uganda. That was what was cool. And I looked at that and I said, no, nedda. We should be proud of who we are. We should be able to express ourselves and in a language that's making our ancestors proud. The fight was long. Long story long, we won. We are still here. We're still creating in our languages, and we're still expressing ourselves in our different languages. There's an advantage to somebody expressing themselves in their language. But ugamba ngedda temujja kufuuka international mukuba Luganda. Okitegeera. And then you'd ask people, okay, what are the biggest songs on the continent? The biggest songs on the continent, I think when we were growing up, was Echibe Sankalewa. Right? Echibe Sankalewa is not in temumanyi ne byebogerako kitegeera. Temumanyi byebogerako. Echibe Sankalewa is in a language you don't understand. And when it comes to Jamaican music, muyimba chorus yokka, yet you enjoy Jamaican music. So in order for somebody to become an international artist, language is rarely a factor. It's just how do you deliver and how well do your networks work? People like Yosundu sing in their Senegalese language and that's it. But you enjoy the music because it is beautiful music. I've had the privilege and honor of attending a Yosundu show in Los Angeles, and it was packed with people of all walks of life. And he was singing in his own language. So for us and the whole Luga Flow movement, the reason why we began creating in our local languages is because it is not only a Pan-African thing to love where you're from and honor your ancestors, but because if you create from your local language, you don't have to translate your thoughts to anything. It's basically you, and creativity should be that. You get me? So, guno omwezi gwe tulimo baguyita batya in your local language. That's a challenge. Anambulira omwezi ogwo, the first 10 comments, I think, the first 10, you get a chance to win yourself some Baboon Forest merch, a cap, or a jumper. So Baboon Forest is the army, better yet the navy. I'm just introducing our discussion for today. Baboon Forest is the army, better yet the navy. If you want to get Baboon Forest merchandise, it is available online at baboonforestentertainment.com. Just go and click shop. Depending on your browser, you might have to refresh again. Okulaba engoye, the bags and the bucket hats that are there. All the items, you might have to refresh twice if you're using an Android. Bolanding akwe your page, but you can see, bobera ngolimu US or ngolimu UK, bobera ngolimu Dubai, things can be delivered to your doorstep. So you can order and then these things can be delivered to your doorstep. Bobera ngolimu Kampala ekyagaanye okutereeza ebintu ebyakabi bibeere nga tubifuna nga abali ebweru nga Nairobi bwekola nga US bwekola. Naffe tugenda tuvaayo and we have solutions. If you want a Baboon Forest cap, genda bugenzi ku Jumia. Go to Jumia, type in Baboon Forest Classic Cap, or baboon forest jumper. But I think Jumia twina catalog ya hats zoka nkofira the legacy caps. So you can go over there of name kofira ya baboon forest. If you want the jumpers, the caps, twina ba distributors abalala botunulira flyer eri ku baboonforestentertainment.com mu shop whatever distributors bonna osobola okugenda ewa muganda wange Sylvester and Abrams ku Kick Store eri mu Mabirizi Plaza. You can get yourself a GNL jumper. Not a GNL jumper, a baboon forest jumper, so you can be one with the tribe. Also, kugenda ku Ebrian's wali ku Garden City. We as young creatives, we always cooperate. Nti ebintu ya baboon forest also bisange wa Ebrian's. And we help each other grow like that. And in our website here, we both recognize that we are growing brands in East Africa. So if you want to support, if you want to be one with the tribe and the Baboon Forest Army, support Yambala Ngafe to creating a change chafe. And we would like us to also would like to know more about you. So please, when you come to the Baboon Forest website, leave alone your details and things that you're passionate about, because we are discovering that in entertainment, it isn't only the skills as abayimbi or kazetwetaga, it isn't only rappers that we need, but we need fashion designers, we need writers, we need editors, we need fashion design. Did I say fashion designers? We need actors, things, basically skills, and you never know. Your skill might be the one that we need, or I might know somebody who needs somebody with your talents. We need accountants in entertainment. Yes, so long story long again, today's topic is the gospel of greatness. Yes, the gospel of greatness. As you know, my name is Greatness with No Limits. My entertainment name is Greatness of No Limits. But in that very name, I found myself having the philosophy that governs my creativity. And I believe that if I share some of what I know and the principles that guide my creativity, somebody who is watching this video, alimo lockdown, might get even a better way to create even more than me. Which take an Africa GNL or future and basically a GNL 7.0 or something like that. So I believe in the gospel of greatness, and the gospel of greatness to me is in recognizing the power that one has within themselves. You don't look at limitations, greatness with no limits. So when I begin calling everybody in hip hop a king, a queen, it's because I recognize the beauty and the power that they have within themselves. The gospel of greatness will take you much further than, I don't know, your upbringing. Your upbringing doesn't matter. Your upbringing might actually present challenges to you on your journey of becoming great. But if you tap into the greatness that you have within yourself, you find that you become Teflon, or very untouchable. Bantu bakugamba bino, ochimanyi nti mwana, oteekwa okukula, ove ku university, ogende ofuna omulimu, otegekera obulamu bwo bw'omaaso. Yes, that's how most people, and that's how most uncles think, most aunties think, that's how most of our parents think, because that's the world that they grew up in. But if you're thinking about greatness and you've tapped into your greatness, you'll have the confidence to say, I'm going to start my own company, and my own company will be my fallback plan. Not again formulas. I'm not saying that everybody should do this. I'm just saying that if you tap into your greatness, it's the quickest way to becoming an innovator. On the scale of Africa, on the scale of being African and Pan-African, we as Africans have not yet tapped into our greatness. And that's why we are still, Babala hierarchy, they always want to put us at the bottom. But it is because at the bottom, we are still suffering from a lot of mental slavery. The shock waves of colonialism are still reverberating, and so many people believe that our position is where we are meant to be. And that is why most of our governments and most of our creatives still believe in a handout. Mpa, nyamba, mfukamide kumavivi, kakubire muendongo, onsasule. So if you're always creating from that, and you don't know how great you are, and you haven't tapped into your greatness, you'll always be waiting for a handout instead of creating your own systems and realizing that you are your own You're your own solution, basically. Teri muntu mulala agenda kutaasa bwavu. Teri muntu mulala agenda kutaasa bwavu except you getting up, looking at that guy in the mirror and saying, lwaki ebyange byo tebikyuka ng'ebyabalala. Okitegeera, and you recognize your own bullshit. When you recognize your own bullshit, you begin crafting ways. You begin crafting ways of getting yourself out of that hole. Every creative needs their own. You see me talking to people, basically 1,000 people. Negwe no gamba nze kampisewe tweryange nze kankupe simu. Please give us a moment to first discuss things that are going to help the nation. Tujja kuba nga tuvuddeko. So kuba si kibi, but not right now. Right now you can see that I'm talking to the second youngest population in the whole world, being Uganda. The second youngest population is Uganda. Do you realize how much power is in us having very young people in our country? That means that if we begin investing in young people and sharing what we know, the future could be ours. We could tilt the way the whole dynamics of the world, basically the whole running of the world. You find that Japan balina abantu bakulu nnyo, abantu baabwe tebaagala kuzaala, basically population ekaddiye. Babagamba nti bannange balina ne ghost towns nti abantu bafudde tebakyalina nnyumba za kubeeramu. Yet Uganda, you have the second youngest population in the world. So it's important for us as big brothers to share what we know and to basically create a better Africa that we'd like to see. I was talking about the gospel of greatness. The gospel of greatness, waliwo quote here, yeah, Frederick Douglass. Frederick Douglass was a slave who got emancipated and began writing books. Basically, the whole movement okwe emancipating could be attributed back to Frederick Douglass and so many other people. And Frederick Douglass is like one of those people. He has a quote where he says, "It is better to create. It's better to create with children than to repair broken men." So there are so many people, creatives mu industry yafenga kizibwa okubakyusa. But you find that with younger people, they still have the opportunity. They're still being their minds are still being molded. So we at Baboon Forest believe in supplying the tree with the best fertilizer, basically. We believe in supplying the forest and the tree with a better fertilizer and creating the network that young creatives are going to be using in order to be great. I talk about having Baboon Forest Kampala, we could be having Baboon Forest Nairobi, we could be having Baboon Forest Rwanda, Baboon Forest Sudan, Baboon Forest Sweden, and all of this network is just not basically for me in GNL Zamba. It's not just a brand in tugenda just t-shirts only and clothes and merchandise, but it's a network for creatives that you could create something in Kampala and we could market it in Hollywood, which is ngayafe, you get me? Because we have seen people create like that in other places like Nigeria, in other places like South Africa, places like India, places like Brazil. You find that most of the work actually that's done in the US in other areas. You find that osobola okuba essimu ku customer care naye ng'omuntu akolera customer care ali mu Indonesia. Okitegeera, you're calling Indonesia basically for customer care to solve something, a problem in the US. I'm seeing a chance of us beginning to that if we empower young people, if we empower young people right now, the second youngest population in the world, and teach them the gospel of greatness, and that gospel of greatness being that but Africans tetuli wokusabiriza, right? Actually, aid, I'm one of those firm believers that aid, whenever they give us aid okuva ebweru, that it cripples us. Whenever omuntu lwatutonera engoye emivumba n'agireeta e Kampala, kyonoona market ey'abatunzi abanditunze engoye mu Kampala oba mu Uganda oba mu East Africa. That aid meaning sente ze batuwa eziva ebweru oba nti batuwadde nti batuyambye, Well, what situations go level no aid tasa, but in most situations, if you observe, it takes away the opportunity of the society to be able to stand on its own feet. Boleta engatto n'ozigabira abantu b'omu Kampala, engatto zonna zojje mu Europe, engatto zojje mu China, n'ogamba tubawadde aid y'engatto second hand shoes, right? Obeera oggyewo ability y'abasajja be twalina nga ba cobblers, okitegeera, oba you've taken away the ability of a Ugandan entrepreneur to manufacture a shoe ng'agikoze mu ddiba, okitegeera, kubanga gwe zizo zibeera za bwereere. Engatto ya entrepreneur yaffe bajja girabanga eri price kubanga abantu bajja kulinda bulinzi bya bwereere. So in our gospel of greatness, great men always try to find solutions on their own, and they look around and they realize that the help is not going to come from anybody else but besides themselves and their societies. So even with the music industry in Uganda, the solutions are not going to come from a person outside of our circles who's going to come and help artists create their own solutions. All of those efforts will just be, I look at them as exercises in futility. That it's never going to happen that the solutions for the music industry are going to come from outside. Just like ngana goboira mu family yamwe nti solution egenda kuva one neighbor. No. It's usually you guys to sit down and craft your own solutions. So in those solutions also nze ndaba mulimu opportunity. Buli lwe ndabanga waliwo ekizibu ekiri mu music industry, nze ndabanga opportunity for us to grow. You will not believe how much or how many creatives right now use the internet than before lockdown. So many people edda bagambanga abo bazamba boogera ku bintu bya kubeerawo mu 2030. No, lockdown ebaddewo for 2 years. Right now you won't believe how many musicians are inspired right now okutandika okukola products oziteeka ku line oba okutandika okutunda music waabwe online, and now they are realizing the value in money that comes through nga obadde otadde waakawo online. So many people had not seen that. So in every challenge wabeerawo opportunity, and I believe that even as we are suffering through this situation in Uganda, Charlie lockdown, there's also an opportunity. So right now, nava mu LA about 2 weeks ago. We flew from Los Angeles, but we did not land in Uganda. Our plan was to come land in Uganda, but then we realized we are an East African brand, not just a Ugandan brand. So we did not land in Entebbe. We landed in Nairobi, because in Nairobi, I get to realize that I have a network and fans here as well. It's because I believe that siri muti nti mu Uganda mokka mwensobola okukolera entertainment nembeera successful. So for all my creatives as well, I'm not telling you to jump on a bus and come to Nairobi, but think East Africa. Think about the whole block and think about togamba nti nze mwana okimanyi mmanyi ku creatingira waneno wokka. No. Have the courage within you to know that oli wakabi and you can thrive in any city you're put in. There's a Jay-Z quote where he says, "Put me anywhere on God's green earth and I'll triple my worth." So have that same confidence. Going back to the gospel of greatness. The gospel of greatness is what is going to help Africans create from their own reality. If you create from your own reality, you create albums like Koi Koi. If you create from your own reality, you get the woman Yayimba Golo, what's her name? You get an Angelique Kidjo. You get me? Because there is only one Angelique Kidjo in the world. There's only one Yosundu in the world. And there's only one GNL in the world. There's only one GNL in the world. I hear people mbu GNL kwavaawo kwabera wadawani. There would never be a person to replace me because there's only one GNL in the world. I will tell you that. You can never create the way I create. You can try to mimic it, but you can never create the way that I create. It's impossible. There can only be one Tupac. There will never be a Tupac, another Tupac in the world. There will never be another Eli Wamala in the world. There will never be Bebali Mumbo. again kukudda kweri topic yange gyenabadde mbagamba of how the media cripples the industry is that they always believe that one person needs to be replaced in order for another person to thrive. That the mentality music industry yaffe bagirabanga pyramid nti waliwo abali wanene ku top then waliwo abali ku bottom, but it's an illusion. It's an illusion that you can, if you put all your success on trying to replace somebody else, that's another exercise in futility, because you're betting, you're not recognizing your own greatness, but otryinga kubeeranga muntu mulala oba omutunuuliranga omuntu gwe gw'oteekwa okugyawo in order for you to be relevant. Okitegeera? So our industry, because it creates from a point of insecurity and not greatness, you find that everybody is trying to take each other out. They believe in being each other's competition, trying to replace the other in order for them to be great. But if you create from greatness, you recognize the greatness in another artist. Nogamba, for this verse, I will need Gundi akuba bulungi guitar. Let me call Ouma, let me call Kenneth Mugabe, let's collaborate. You see the beauty? In the gospel of greatness, you all recognize each other's power and you help each other become even better. Iron sharpens iron, then it's a sharper sword, basically. But most people obwongo bwabwe bubeeramu gundi mugyewo ntya so that India. Zino sente zetukola mu entertainment industry, I always tell my people at the forest that buli kumacha buli tukola sente, if we make 100 million, bagenda kuba million endala if the economy grows. You get me? It isn't that when quite 100 million that the other person can't make 200 million. So many people create from a position of scarcity. They don't recognize their own greatness, or they don't see the greatness in others, that they believe that if they share knowledge, that they believe that it takes away from them. But if you share knowledge, you grow, because it gives you an opportunity to learn from others. Bajjajja baffe baatuulanga ku muliro, right? They used to sit around a fire, and most of the proverbs, most of the wisdom that we get to learn, the wisdom that we discern nowadays, the wisdom that we tap into, bali babirabadanga, you didn't even have to read so many books, but you just had to tap into the reality of batulanga butuuzi ne banyumya emboozi, then nalyoka afulumya olugero, which is basically a philosophy or the blueprint to somebody creating a peaceful life. So if we tap into our greatness, we'll get to realize that scarcity is an illusion. If we begin creating from greatness, we'll get to realize that aid and handouts are actually will cripple the industry. What the music industry needs is, first of all, a symposium, basically. We need to have a symposium. And in a symposium, bangamba nti njogera oluzungu lungi nnyo kati kanzire mu lugga flow. A symposium basically means a discussion of ideas nga fena tutudde wamu. If we sit down and it is not about gundi yakulira gundi tagenda kujja kupanga gundi jali, and we just sit down and say let's just have a discussion about what the industry needs, I'll tell you that one of the first things that we need to do, or we should ask the government for, is not money, because we can make money. One of the things that we need is first to take away that at least 65% of all content played on Ugandan channels should be Ugandan. It's a very patriotic move. That means Uganda is creating from its own greatness. That means it's empowering its own people. Baberenga bakabi. If you take away n'ogamba nti buli station eri mu Uganda, buli mawulire gofulumya oba buli program yo, it must have 65% local content. Chi empowering abantu millions of people, not just baneno bo waddeyo chi, bo waddeyo buwi akasente, because baba wa akasente babera comfortable. So this is a time. This time is an opportunity for us to recognize greatness, not just for aid. Neighbor Africans, tulekerawo okusabiriza. Africa has trained engineers. So why are our roads being made by the Chinese government? Does it have to be a loan from China? Nga tuyina amayinja. Tuyina amayinja gali mu birombe. We have, we can make tar. We can make tar. We can make cement. So why are we still borrowing? Why are we still borrowing from governments? Why are we making our future sons and daughters slaves of other races? We should begin creating from greatness and begin creating our own solutions. Africa should not be indebted to other continents, yet the resources are already here. It's a matter of perspective, mindsets, and attitudes that need to change. That Africans, ne bwoba ng'obbye ssente za government zinvesting ewaka. It's a very revolutionary thing. We should not be thinking about how great other people are and how our other races are. That Batusiri was anti. Most people, omuzungu yakola balubu, omuzungu yakola gun. They forget that most of these inventions are actually by other black people. Abali ebwero, or that they were invented by black people because in the town black people could not get the credit. They put a white man and whitewashed basically all of the history. So in my gospel of greatness, I'm asking all of you young people and all of you young creatives to begin creating. First of all, what you need to dismiss is the scarcity. The scarcity is an illusion. That's one thing. Mind yo jijemu sisobola, buli kimu kisobola. You just need to train your muscles in order to lift that weight. And the best way to train your brain muscle is to watch podcasts like this. It's to listen to other people. It's for other people to share. So generations can inspire generations. Mu baboon forest, emiti emito gye gigumiza ekibira. Naye emikulu gye gishelteringa seedlings ne gigiwa nutrients ne zikula. So the forest is thicker. Have you ever wondered why my company is called Baboon Forest? I'll tell you a story. Because since I'm a ghetto storyteller, I'll tell you a story. It is because we recognize that our own power is not in just us being great. Boba walaba film ya Lion King, mwalimu akachima ke bali bayita Rafiki. Rafiki was the baboon that went and told Simba that he had a kingdom to govern. So in my gospel of greatness, my role as GNL is not to be your king. It's not only to be your king, but our role as Baboon Forest and as a company is to remind you young kings that you can be great. It's to remind you queens that you can be great. And in the gospel of greatness that I'm bringing you today, be inspired by people like Mansa Musa, the richest person that has ever walked the face of the earth. Let your heroes be your friends. Let your heroes be people that look like you. Let your heroes be your ancestors. Let your heroes be your societies. Mulekera okutunulira outside, but begin observing from within. And even from within, you'll find your own power. To be empowered, to be kings, to be queens, you'll find solutions within your own selves. So meditate, read, listen, ask questions where you don't know, and iron will sharpen iron. We'll begin creating our own solutions without other people trying to think for us and trying to exploit our own creativity. We should be able to earn and create companies from the content that we create. Without our content, none of these companies can be able to advertise their products because they all use our songs. They all use our melodies. They all use copywriters that write copy. That's poetry to me. Movies cannot exist without creativity. So you should own your voice, own your craft, and begin creating from greatness. That means that you're writing African stories inspired by African lives. And yes, go be great. Greatness with no limits. Yense Mr. Content, chapa ku buli continent, owa Baboon Forest Entertainment, nsimbi tulie lupia zite chintu chigwera mu buwumbi ku bank statement. Bompayo just one moment. Njakulaga nsiri just great, but that you and I can be magnificent. So go and be great. Create from greatness and create more love in the community. When you create from greatness, you get to realize that there is no competition. Basically, all those people are your allies. because they can help you become better or create better products. Mbagala nnyo. Tell me your thoughts. Go to baboonforestentertainment.com, drop your info, and echibira kachibere thick.
You didn't tell people you have a video out.
Oh yeah, I have a video out called Zim Zimbombo.
You do a separate thing.
No. It's all good. It's all good. It's all good. You know, I think, but by now the forest people already know. The forest already knows when new content drops. Like it goes without saying. Okay, guys, I have a new song called Zim Zimbombo. It just dropped, and on that song, it's actually the first verse that I ever wrote. It's the first verse that I ever wrote, and because life comes full circle, I went to the first verse that I ever wrote, and put the second verse. The second verse was basically my thoughts on the industry, and went back still to the very first verse, generally Impandis. Because for me, in empowerment, everything comes back full circle, and the aesthetic and the beat of that whole album is basically rock music mixed with hip hop. So many people do not even know that rock music was actually started by black people. So it is a very revolutionary move for the Spear album to take back sounds that Jimi Hendrix made popular, sounds that Little Richard made popular, sounds that now help bridge the gap between African markets and European markets. That right now I can perform the Spear in Germany and people will relate to that sound. It's our sound, it's our greatness. Efumu is how Africans pass on responsibility to the next generation. And Efumu libera aerodynamic. Efumu area right now is the mind. The mind needs to be sharp. So I named my album The Spear because you find the spear in all African stories, and it's a way that we pass on responsibility, and it's a way that we defend, protect, or hunt to provide. So I named my album The Spear, and of that I've just released song number 11. Song number 11 was Zim Zimbombo. The album was 11 songs, released on November 11th at 11:11. The 11th month, 11th day at 11:11. So go check it out. Also let me know what you think about these thoughts and the gospel of greatness. Mbagala nnyo ensi yaffe n'emirirwano. One.